All right, yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You know who it is. It's your boy, the Nature Boy, back with another video for you guys here today. And today, we're going to be doing something a little different. Today, I'm going to be speed read-throughing One Piece chapters 1072 and chapter 1073, the last two chapters to have come out. And again, I've already read these chapters on my own. I haven't done any live reactions to them on the channel, because my situation was a little bit complicated at the time. But a lot of you guys have been asking for my review and my thoughts on these chapters. So instead of just doing a basic review, I was thinking I already wanted to reread these chapters because I haven't gotten a chance to so far. So what I decided is we're going to get together and we're going to read through these chapters real quickly. We're going to speed blitz through them. And I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on everything that's happened as we're reading through them. And then at the end of both, I'm just going to give my general thoughts on everything so far, because these two chapters have been wild. And they've been wild in terms of story information, such as the clones and all that. But we're going to get into all that in detail soon. And yes, I've got a new camera and a new mic. I don't know if you guys can tell. If you can, let me know. Let me know if you guys like it. Let me know if this is too far, too close. Let me know all that, if I should be closer to the mic or not, because I'm just playing around with the settings right now and I can adjust as we go. So let me know. And the main thing I want to say before we get started is we reached the goal of 1,000 subscribers, and I am beyond grateful to all of you. Thank you guys so much for supporting this channel. When I started this channel, I was not expecting to reach 1,000 subscribers in 6 months. And I know a lot of people have done a lot better than that, have gotten much higher numbers. I don't care. I try not to compare with other people. I try and compare with myself and my past self and how I've done. And I set realistic goals, and I was not expecting to hit 1K in 6 months. So I am beyond grateful that it has happened, and it's only up from here. So thank you guys so much. I guess it means I'm doing something right on this channel. I'm hoping you guys are enjoying these videos. I'm trying to spice it out. I'm trying to make different type of videos, some theory videos, some power skill videos, some analysis videos, because I enjoy doing all of them. And I know with YouTube, you tend to get more views when you niche down. I'm well aware of this. That's why you have guys who are specifically One Piece theorists. You have guys that are specifically power scalers, and guys that are specifically analysis videos, like Morge and stuff like that. But I don't know, maybe one day I'll be forced to go down that road. But as of right now, I just want to do what I love. And I love covering everything in One Piece. Everything. Live reactions, discussions, reviews, anything, everything, you name it. So if you guys are enjoying it, we're going to stick to doing that so far. But I've already been rambling on for far too much. And we're going to jump right into 1072, I believe is the one. Hold on here. Let me make sure that it's still recording when I exit this page and go on to the chapter, because the last thing I want is to do this whole video and then realize it stopped recording. All right, so I can't see the camera now. I'm on the manga page, but here we go. I know we've already read these chapters, so we're not going to take too long on them, but I want to refresh my memory too before doing a review, and I do want to reread the chapters in case I missed anything. So here we go. Chapter 1072, guys, the weight of memory. Read along. If you guys have your laptop, your computer, your phone, let's all go through this together. Plus, both these chapters I read with the OP scans, the earliest scans that came out, which are lower quality. So it'll be good to read it with TCB right now. Maybe even Viz. Maybe I should go to Viz. Forget it. Let's read on TCB. TCB is good enough. So, One Piece chapter 1072, the weight of memories. We got Vegapunk. We got not Vegapunk. We got Queen holding the vials. We got Caesar holding a devil fruit, and we got Judge injecting someone with or holding someone down. And I think this is, I'm pretty sure now at the end of this chapter, we all came to the same conclusion that this was Stussy, and this was their first cloning experiment. And Vegapunk probably ordered these three guys to test out and create this clone of Miss Buckingham Stussy, and that's what's going on there. So unless we get further information on that, I think that's a general consensus in the One Piece community. All right. Even if the world does not accept how she came to be, the girl is unmistakably human. It was a success, a remarkable step. I bear witness to this achievement, and I maintain that it is a huge step towards peace. Dr. Vegapunk, Chief of MADS, the laboratory of, or Dr. Vegapunk, Chief of MADS, the laboratory of peace. Sob. It hurts. I think I broke something. Wah, wah. We got Bonnie crying here. We got Vegapunk. He feels sorry for her. Bonnie. Dear me, are you alright? Medics, look alive. Hurry, Bonnie. Hurry. Bonnie's been injured. And yeah, and Bonnie's been playing him, and when she lures him in, and once he's in, she goes for the attack. I remember this. Distorted future. Whoa. So we know Vegapunk genuinely feels a way for Bonnie, and I think that stems from the fact that he probably feels guilty about some of the things that he was forced to do with Kuma, and he probably saw that Kuma valued Bonnie, and he wanted to hide all the stuff with Bonnie, and we'll get to that later when we get to Kuma. But the fact that Kuma's his main thought process, his priority, was to conceal the truth from Bonnie, Vegapunk sees how much this guy really cares about Bonnie, and he feels bad about what he has to do to Kuma. So he probably feels he's indebted to Bonnie in some kind of way, and he should probably be a father figure to her now that he's, in a sense, been the guy to remove her father from her life. Or something along those lines. Maybe I'm overanalyzing it, but I just feel like he feels he's responsible for Bonnie in a sense now. Bonnie, stop this. Even if you kill me. Timely thrust. And she gets him. Vegapunk turns young. Somehow looks even weirder than he already looks. And Bonnie, huff, huff. Dagnibit. I suppose these shiny doodads are a manifestation of the years I just lost. You've turned me into a helpless child. Give me back my golden years. Calm down. My power doesn't last forever on living things. That was good information to get to. So even if she wanted to, her power can't last forever on a person, even if she wants it to. You said you had a reason. Well, you better start talking. Why the hell did you kill my father? But Bonnie, if I tell you, and there you go. There's the guilt from Vegapunk. You can see he feels guilty. Red port. This was so interesting. Look, Kuma's trying to climb the red line. There's no way he'll make it all the way to the top. If I divulged the reason, it would only serve to hurt you. What is Kuma hiding? What is so bad that he doesn't want Bonnie at all costs? At all costs, Bonnie can't learn what happened to him. And why did he have to make such a sacrifice? What is the greater good of this sacrifice? And is it an individual decision or is it a revolutionary decision? Did Dragon play part? Because it seems like it's an individual decision that he made with Vegapunk that has nothing to do with Dragon or the Revolutionaries. I don't think Bonnie holds any grudges towards the Revolutionaries. I don't even think they had a say in this because they're the ones that risked everything to get Kuma back. Fighting two admirals at once, invading Marijoa, and fighting two admirals at once, where Imu was. So they risked a lot to get him back. So it seems like he made this decision on his own. And Kuma's plotline is, honest to God, one of the most interesting plot lines right now in the story for me. Like everything that's going on in Egghead, I'm just looking at Kuma. I want to know more about Kuma above all else. Above all else. But actually, the end of chapter 1073 changed that. But we'll get to that when we get to that. I promised Kuma that I would keep his secret from you no matter what. Hold on, guys. Let me just make sure it's still recording. Because this is all new for me. I'm used to just recording on my phone. Okay. We're good, right? Yeah, we're good. 8 minutes in. Beautiful. I promised Kuma that I would keep a secret from you no matter what. Bonnie gets pissed. You're saying you can't tell me why you had to kill my dad. Do I look like I was born yesterday? Stop screwing around. I'm not trying to pull a fast one here. You've got to believe me. Nobody made the decision for him. There you go. So no one made this decision for Kuma. Kuma, with a full, clear, conscious mind, made this decision. My question is, what was the decision and what forced him to make it? What was the ultimatum? What good came from him making this decision? Because we know the sacrifice. We know what it is. He basically lost his humanity. He's basically dead. Kuma's basically dead. But what for? We have no idea. What would a man sacrifice his own life for? There's so many answers to that in One Piece, right? Nobody made a decision for him. Kuma chose that fate for himself. You liar. Dad would never choose to die and abandon me. I'll kill you. It's been hard on me too. I wish I could forget the whole ideal. Kuma's an incredible man. I've always been proud to call him my close friend. Bonnie, please understand. I can't say anything more on the matter. Just spit it out. I'm not gonna blindly swallow your half-assed excuses. Yeah, this is child abuse. And then Bonnie looks back. Yep, Bonnie kicks him into the door. She sees the door and he freaks out. He doesn't want her to see that door. And we all know by now what's behind that door. And this is so good, man. This is so good. Let's get to it. Bonnie, wait. Pay no attention to what's over there. It's got nothing to do with Kuma, you hear? And it says keep out, caution. That's obviously a lie. She opens it up, oil breakdown, boom, and there it is. We see the paw. Same paw, or looks like the same paw we saw all the way back in Thriller Bark with Zoro. And a lot of panting, a lot of huffing. And then we get the flashback. Kuma looks so badass here. Memories. That's right. A scientist out in the West Blue once postulated that a person loses 21 grams of mass upon death, and that could be considered the weight of their soul. If nothing else, such a link would prove that the soul does in fact exist. Fascinating, isn't it? This holds so much weight, bro. Because this gives so much more credit to Kuma's fruit and how diverse it can be. I feel like if there's anything we've experienced in the past year of One Piece, with Gear 5, with the Devil Fruit lore that we just got in the past 2 or 3 chapters, with how Vegapunk explained it, with what we just learned about Kuma's fruit, with these 3 things especially, One Piece is unlimited. One Piece is truly unlimited. Like the most out of the world things that you can think of. Oh, and of course, with clones now that we know, the most out of this world things that you can think of are now 100% not just possible, but likely to occur in One Piece. And I think before Gear 5 and before Egghead, there was a very much realism to One Piece, and there was a clear line that you can't cross that was like fake, right? It'd be too silly. Now it's like, not even silly, because silly doesn't explain this. This is just anything you can imagine is possible. That's the best way I can put it. And that's the number one thing I feel like we've learned in the past year of One Piece, is anything imaginable is possible in the world of One Piece, which we didn't know before. We thought it worked like the real world, just with a few differences, right? Like devil fruits and stuff like that. Okay, and your power can take something intangible like pain and give it a physical form. Not only that, but can you even transfer it to others? A total wireless transmission of nerve signals. Not only that, but can you even transfer it to others? A total wireless transmission of nerve signals. So I'm wondering if that same logic can be applied to other nervous signals. Can we determine whether things like imagination and memories have mass and volume as well? Also, guys, let me know if you can hear the airplanes going through now, because, again, I told you guys in a lot of videos, I live right by an airport, and one thing about recording on my phone is you can always hear the airplanes every 30 seconds passing by. So if you can't hear it now, hopefully this mic is better, and if you can't hear it, I cannot even tell you how much more easier that makes my life, not having to pause videos over and over and over again. So hopefully you guys can't hear it. I'm praying you guys can't hear it. But if you can, it's no big deal. We'll just stick to things the way we did before. Can we determine whether things like imagination and memories have mass and volume as well? So you want me to pull out my own memories and show you? That's far too personal. Please, it will help me advance science. Nobody else would see them, I promise. No, please, I'm begging you. So if he can take memories, and he can take pain and imagination, it's almost like if Kuma can take imagination, then his fruit can almost create devil fruits. But the only thing with that is his fruit is a devil fruit. So it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? But if his fruit, maybe his fruit created replications of the fruit. So remember how Vegapunk said devil fruits are a result of people's imaginations, but from a different dimension or a different world, something along those lines. Sure, he explains that, but he doesn't explain how they literally come to be. We know why they came to be, because people imagine them from a different world. But how did they come to be, right? How is the main question for me, is how, not why, but how. And I do think it's possible. As crazy as this sounds, I'm at the point now where nothing sounds too crazy for One Piece. Nothing. And for me, it's possible that Kuma's fruit wasn't a devil fruit, it was just an ability. And whoever had that ability at first is the how. They actually manifested these other people's imaginations into real life, right? Like Luffy's fruit, the Nika fruit, the Logia fruits, the Blackbeard's fruit, which I think there's a lot more too than we know. I'm not even sure if that's really the dark fruit anymore. But maybe Kuma's fruit is the one that created devil fruits, and then they became known devil fruits after that. Because from what we understand here, can we determine whether things like imagination have mass and volume as well? And then he takes that imagination into a devil fruit form, or maybe he takes it into his paw and he pushes it into another person, like he did pushes Luffy's pain into Zoro, right? And then that person has that fruit. And then once that person dies, a regular fruit beside them turns into the devil fruit of that ability. And then that's the first time there's an actual devil fruit of that ability. First, it was just an ability in the form of the paw, like we always see. He pushes that ability into them. They have that ability. They die. Nearest fruit turns into a devil fruit, and that's how devil fruits are formed. Maybe it's not even from a tree. Maybe that's how it is. I don't know. This could just be some crazy ass thinking right now, but most One Piece theories are, to be honest. Most One Piece theories are out of there. But I just wanted to put that out because these are thoughts that went through my mind reading this, and I really haven't seen anyone else talk about them. Maybe someone else has, but I haven't seen. Don't touch that, Bonnie. I'm sure you're familiar with Kuma's powers. There's nothing there but pain. It's more than enough to kill someone. And she's very familiar with his powers. That's interesting too. She knows how they work. Shoot him down. Don't let him get to Mary Joa. I know my father's abilities all too well. Look how badass he looks in that panel. He looks so sick. Seize him. Make sure you finish him off. He's still alive. All civilians, please evacuate. So Kuma was in her life then, I guess, because she knows how his powers work very well. So when he was a tyrant king, or maybe before that, or maybe after that, Bonnie was in his life. And what does he want from Mary Joa? I think that's another very, very important question. Is what is Kuma going after Mary Joa? And is this the real Kuma deep down inside, or is this the programming that's going up there? That's another thing that we gotta ask ourselves, right? Maybe it's the programming trying to get up there. Maybe it's the real Kuma. I think we're all assuming it's the real Kuma, but maybe it's the programming. But I do think it's the real Kuma. It's the real Kuma it's Kuma's desire that wants to get up there, fighting against the programming. His memories aren't here. His memories are here, aren't they? And she's about to reach into it and learn the truth. Egghead, Labostratum. What? Rob Lucci really made it all the way up there? My apologies. The system malfunctioned. It's a good thing Zoro and Brooks stayed on the ship. There's no way they'd lose. Even if it's 2 against 3, they'll figure something out. And we got Shaka. No. Look again. The battle is far more lopsided than you think. What? And we got everyone, all of the Seraphim, Lucci, Kaku, Stussy against Zoro and Brook, right? Those Seraphim things are there too. It's 2 against 7 now, and they're up against the best of the best. Damn it, they called in backup while the barrier was down. No, I doubt CP0 ordered them directly. The Seraphim are able to assess combat situations. And they're equipped with some limited decision-making capabilities of their own. So they choose to capitalize on the barrier going down. We didn't order them to come. And we see Lucci saying this. It's not like we can make them go back now. The dome is operating again. The enemies made a serious miscalculation. Now that they're up here, we can turn the Seraphim back to our side since we're higher in the command hierarchy. We see the command hierarchy. We see more stuff from the Vegapunks. That's assuming we get there in the holler in time to holler our orders at them. Blah 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 blah. I'll leave it to you two then. Edison Lilith, don't tell me what to do. I think see Sanji. I liked this part. Do you think Mosshead would croak right when the One Piece is in our sights, or right before he learns the One Piece? You go too. This threat affects this whole crew. It's interesting to read it with a different translation now. Nami's orders are absolute for the Mirafim. Still, why do I have to save him? See, this wasn't the translation. This wasn't even close to the exact words on the OP scan. So it's interesting to read it like this. Don't screw around. Swirlafrim. This is serious. You see, even Frankie's joking around. I should have read TCV earlier. What the devil is he supposed to be? Well, he's meant to be a giraffe, but he seems a little different from what I remember. Now that it matters, he's gone up there, blah, 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 blah. Let me speed through this. That's if you can cut me, Aurora Noah. And then the fact that we got Kagu awakened too. I kept calling this, but half joking, half serious. Where I was saying, are we going to see an awakened Kaku? I don't even know if I really believed we were. I was just saying as a joke. But the fact that we did is kind of good and kind of bad. Because it's good for the situation, but it's too much power creeping in One Piece. Where it's like, okay, why wasn't everyone else awakened in Wano? And me, I've said this a million times. I'm always of the strong belief that Kaido's dragon form is his awakening. I don't know why people think Kaido's not awakened. If you look at Kaido and Luffy, it's the perfect comparison. Perfect comparison. And I'll explain it to you guys. Kaido and Luffy both have not just Zoan types, but mythical Zoan type devil fruits. So in terms of types, they are as similar as it can be. Every category they enter together. Zoan, mythical. Okay. And what is Luffy's fruit? It is the Hito Hito no Mi, which is the human fruit, right? Okay. And what is Kaido's? It is the fish fruit. And then their models, not their fruits, but the model of the fruit is Sun God Nika for Luffy and is Azure Dragon for Kaido. So if we take Luffy had Luffy eat the Hito Hito no Mi and was a person. He was always a person anyways, but he was a person with the abilities of Sun God Nika. He had certain traits like rubber. He had certain traits like rubber and stuff like this, right? But he wasn't Sun God Nika himself until he awakened. When he awakened, basically, Luffy's awakening was his model. He awakened into his model of Sun God Nika. So Kaido, his fruit is a fish fruit. So I'm assuming when he ate the fruit, he was a fish with dragon-like tendencies, maybe like the dragon scales and certain abilities. And then he awakened into the model because Luffy is the only mythical Zoan that we know for a fact when he awakened and what his awakening was, and we could take that and compare it to another mythical Zoan. If we use Marco, for example, Marco is a bird model phoenix. Okay, but we don't have confirmation if Marco is awakened or not. So you can say Marco isn't awakened and he's his model, but who's to say Marco's not awakened? And why wouldn't Marco be awakened? He's the first Yonko commander. Katakuri's awakened, isn't he? Why wouldn't Marco be awakened? The only one we can go off is Luffy. And with Luffy's fruit, it tells us that the model is the awakening. The first thing is the devil fruit. So the Hito Hito, the human, the bird, the fish, that is the devil fruit. Like we saw Chopper eat the Hito Hito, immediately became a human. But the model is what you get for mythical zones, at least, is what you get when you awaken. So the fact that Kaido is an Azure Dragon, to me, means he awakened and Marco awakened. That's my assumption. So I don't hold Kaido in this list. But Kaido aside, there's King, there's Queen, there's Jack, there's the Toby Ropo. Why wasn't anyone else awakened? Why wasn't anyone else awakened? That's what I want to know. Because how is Kaku awakened but not King? King the Wildfire. That doesn't make sense to me. And another thing with awakenings is, from what we see with Zoans, is they all have like that smoke around them, right? So actually, that's a good thing. Let me go to Kaido. Kaido Dragon Form. Let me see if Kaido has that. Kaido Dragon Form manga. Yeah, he does. He does. Yeah, exactly. So there's more proof. Look at this. Go to Kaido's picture of him in dragon form in the manga, and you may think it's a part of his dragon. It's a part of his dragon because it's literally connected to his body when he's in dragon form. But it's the exact same thing. It's the same black flames that we get with Luffy and with Kaku, and then Luffy has it, but in white flames. So to me, all the evidence points to Kaido being awakened. I really don't understand the argument that Kaido's not awakened. To me, just because it hasn't been said, doesn't mean he wasn't. It doesn't. But anyways, I just wanted to talk about that. So we see Luffy fighting Kaku. Kaku's awakened. Giraffe mode gyro. I had my fill fighting critters with zigzagging attacks back in Wano. I had my fill fighting critters with zigzagging attacks back in Wano. I'm tired of it. Kaku is no match for Zoro. Zoro doesn't necessarily destroy him. Zoro doesn't even beat him at the end of the day, because we see how this chapter ends. But clearly, in the same way Lucci was no longer a serious threat to Luffy, Kaku was no longer a serious threat to Zoro. And I think we all expected this. So we see Lucci and the stuff with the Seraphim. We see Shaka. This is bad. The situation is starting to look real bad for Zoro, because at the end of the day, it's not just Kaku, right? Everyone is here. And then they're all getting ready. Kuma gets the Ursa shock ready. And boom, explosion. They sure know how to razzle dazzle. They're basically doing the job for us. And then chomp. And we see. So I'll be honest, one thing that I totally missed when I read this chapter is the fact that Stussy bit him. I didn't actually see what went on here. I thought she just like hit him and took him down. I didn't realize that she bit him. So plus I don't think OP scans was this clear visually, or with their what do you call it? Like when it just says chomp, or it'll show like they'll write down an action so you know exactly what's happening. Or like crack, like here, cuckoo, stuff like that. It wasn't as clear, so it was harder to read. So I'm glad TCB is much more clear with it. And she bites him. He goes down. Lucci is shocked. What are you doing? Stussy, here we go. One of the best manga endings in the entire One Piece, in my opinion. I was spoiled on this, by the way. This was the one page of the chapter I was spoiled on. And it bothered me so much. I didn't even want to live react it, because I felt like it's going to be fake, because I already know what's coming at the end. And you can already tell reading this that the entire chapter is going to build up to this. So I knew I'm going to be reading a chapter, live reacting to it on camera, that's building up to an ending that I already know. It's not like there's anything else big that I was going to miss. So I decided not to live react to that one. And then I couldn't live react to the one after this, unfortunately. Who, me? I'm just putting him to sleep. Would you please join him, Lucci? I think it's time for your cat nap too. Clone of Miss Buckingham, Stussy of the Rocks Pirates. Okay. Thank you, TCB. Thank you, TCB, because OP scans was so damn confusing with this. Shout out to OP scans, because at the end of the day, they bring those scans early, and I love it. And shout out to them. Nothing but love for them. But it's hard, man. It's hard to read those. Like, half the community was saying it's, or at least when you first read it, I feel like it was confusing whether or not this was a clone of the Rocks Pirates, or if this clone was a part of the Rocks Pirates. I took it as it was a clone of the Rocks Pirates person, which ended up being correct. But I can easily see how people can be mistaken, because even at first I was confused. I was like, is this the clone of the Rocks Pirates member, or was this the clone of a person? And this clone was a Rocks Pirate. The way it was wording, I don't remember how it was worded exactly, but the way it was worded was very confusing. Here it's very clear, because it starts off with clone. So everything you hear after clone is the original. Clone of, and then from here on to the original. Clone of Miss Buckingham Stussy of the Rocks Pirates. Mad's first successful clone, Unit 01, Stussy. 1074 end. This opened up the doors to so many clone theories. It's driving everyone crazy. And the thing is, we already knew cloning was possible with the Seraphims, but what we didn't know is that clones can act like everyday humans. Because what Stussy did, Stussy was like a normal human, like everyone else, and blended in with humans. Seraphims take orders. I guess Stussy takes orders from Vegapunk too, but Stussy was able to blend in, which is what she does. She is a double agent. But this opened the door now to so many theories on clones, and because now it's like, okay, well, how many characters that we know in the One Piece world could be clones just blending in, right? So many of them can be. Excuse me, guys. Now there's theories on Weevil, which I think is the most legitimate one. It's fair. It's very fair to theorize with Weevil, because Weevil is extremely dumb. He has a lot of scars, and they say he's Whitebeard's son, and he is with the original Miss Buckingham Stussy, who they cloned. So maybe they cloned Stussy and Whitebeard together. Who knows? So Weevil is a valid one. Weevil is 100% valid. I think another valid one, when I first read this chapter, I came up, another valid one is Blackbeard. And when I first read this chapter, I was 1,000% convinced Blackbeard was a clone. I had so much evidence I gathered, I was going to make a whole video, a theory video for you guys on it too. And then I realized one thing that kind of debunked it for me, or at least took away my confidence where I no longer believe it. And I don't want to make a video if I don't believe it. And that goes back because here's the evidence. We don't know much about Blackbeard's history. We don't know where he came from. All we know is when he was a kid, he was alone and he joined the Whitebeard Pirates. So we don't even know if he was born. We don't know if he has parents. And then we know that his body works fundamentally different. And the easiest answer to that now is this. This provides not the, but it provides a answer to the fact that Blackbeard has a fundamentally different body, like Marco said all the way back in Marineford. Now we at least have a possible answer. And then we know with the flashback, Oden's flashback, that Blackbeard doesn't sleep when Buggy told Shanks. So all of this, clone, right? Instantly, you're thinking clone. But then I went back to Jiraiya and went back to his introduction and what Luffy and Zoro said. Not him, they. And that erased it for me. That erased it. Because that makes it, it's much more than cloning. Maybe he is a clone still, I don't know. But it's more than that, regardless. The answer is more than that. So to me, there's no need for it to be a clone because we're going to get a whole different answer entirely because he's not one person. He's multiple people. That's how his body works fundamentally. So I'm still of the belief it has something to do with 3 people in one body, 3 brothers in one body. Shanks killed one of them. He was able to scar Shanks like that. If you guys saw that video I made, I'm still of that belief. But man, there could be someone else that's a clone right now in the One Piece world that we've known for years. I think another good one, I don't want to get too deep into this. These aren't people that I think are clones. These are just some that if I heard someone make a theory on, I would think, okay, there's grounds to the statement. It's valid. It's believable. So another one for me is Mihawk. And I know how crazy that sounds. But Mihawk doesn't seem like he has a personality at all whatsoever. Mihawk has as much personality as his Seraphim counterpart. Like literally. And there are a lot of quiet characters in One Piece. Crocodile's quiet. I guess you could say Rayleigh's kind of quiet. There are quiet characters, but they all have personalities. Mihawk just seems like there's nothing. He seems hollow inside. There's a difference. He seems just hollow inside, where like there's nothing going on in there whatsoever. Not in the mind, not in the heart, nothing. And I think the only time we've ever seen him smile is when, or react with any sort of emotion, is when, 2 times we've seen him react to any kind of emotion. When Zoro said he's never going to lose again, and Mihawk smiles. And when Luffy is falling down into Marineford and we see Mihawk's shocked face. Again, this is the anime. I didn't read the manga back then, so I don't really know if they showed this in the manga. But in the anime, we see Mihawk have a shocked face and a smiley face when Zoro says that. So those are the only 2 times he's ever had emotion. But if someone came to me with a theory, hey, I think Mihawk is a clone, here's why, I would listen 100% because I think there's grounds to that. But I don't think he is, personally. Just wanted to clear that up. So that's chapter 1072. And we're going to get into chapter 1073 in a second. Let me just make sure we're still recording. Yes, we are still recording. And we're at 33 minutes. Okay, perfect. I don't mind if this one's a longer video, because I want to make sure I give all my thoughts. I've been gone for a while. And to touch on that, guys, right now, I told you guys, if you haven't heard in one of my videos, I'm starting a new job, truck driving, all the way across. So it's long haul, right? So I'm gone. I leave my home 2 weeks, a week and a half, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks sometimes. Right now, I was gone 2 full weeks. Travel all the way across the States and then come back home to where I'm at in Canada. So I don't really have time right now to do these things. However, this isn't forever. Right now, I'm in the training process. So right now, even when I'm not driving, it's 2 guys. It's me and the other guy who's training. The truck is running 24/7. But even when I'm not driving, I'm either sleeping or I'm learning because I'm still in the training process. So I don't have time to edit and do stuff like that. Once I'm done the training process, I got a whole plan set up already, and I can do these things in the truck. I can record my videos here and I can edit in the truck nonstop. So I can have just as many videos, if not even more, coming out to you guys regularly, hopefully, once I'm done. So basically, it's just for my training phase, which should be no more than a month and a half of training phase. And then once I'm done the training phase, everything should be back to normal. So just bear with me for a month and a half tops, guys. And it's already been like 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks. So it's not much longer. All right, so we're gonna get into chapter 10, 70. Or do I have any more thoughts on this chapter? I think the end of the chapter explains the cover story in the beginning. I think with Stussy, you guys already heard a lot of theories from a lot of other One Piece YouTubers. Me personally, right now, I'm of the belief that it is very possible that someone else we know in the theory is a clone. And I do think at least one other person that we know in the story we've seen throughout is a clone. I don't think it's going to be 5 or 6 different people. I think 1, 2 at the absolute most. Because the way Oda tends to write things, he's not gonna wait 1,072, right? 1,072 chapters to introduce cloning to us, and that people can blend in, clones can blend in, to not have had someone blending in this entire series be a clone. Stussy was introduced in Whole Cake Island. She wasn't here for the entire series. She wasn't even here a quarter of it. So I think someone that's been here a very long time will be a clone, just so you can use it, right? But one person. We're not gonna see stuff like Luffy's a clone of Joy Boy, Zoro's a clone of Ryuma. Who knows? Who knows? Actually, who knows? Who knows? Again, like I said in the beginning of this video, nothing is impossible in One Piece. Nothing. If you're of that mindset, trust me, you're gonna want to change your mindset right now. You don't have to believe everything is gonna happen, but you should believe everything is possible, because at this point, what hasn't happened in One Piece? Anyways, guys, 1073, Miss Buckingham Stussy. Germa 66's Cold-Blooded Voyage, Volume 29, awarded the Ebel Peace Prize for developing the GP flower, a flower that blooms in gunpowder. We see Vegapunk with his a camera shooting at him with a transponder snail. He's taking a picture, and then his 3 stooges behind him: Queen, Judge, and Caesar. Okay. I feel like I'm losing my voice. Lucci's reaction to betrayal. Or should I say Lucci? Lucci is Luffy and Dressrosa. Lucci's reaction to betrayal. Kaku's down. This is a bitter pill to swallow. Lucci's surprised. He goes for the finger pistol. It's a mirage of Stussy. She's behind him. She does a typical anime one-shot. Paper art heartbreak after image. So when you don't understand, your first instinct is to go for the kill. My, you're so wild. Sea Stone, she has Sea Stone, and she holds it onto him and then bites him so that his Delphi is negated. And she has wings now. That's another thing I forgot to touch on. First, I thought this meant that she was a Seraphim as well, like how they have Lunarian wings, but hers are entirely different. I think hers are more so related to whatever kind of fruit or vampire-like ability she has, where maybe she's a clone of Miss Buckingham Stussy, and Miss Buckingham Stussy at the time of getting her DNA had some kind of vampire devil fruit. Maybe. Oh shit, what happened? Hold on. I left the page. Okay, here we go. Kaku, you bitch. That wasn't on the OP scans. I know how strong you boys are. Fighting you fair and square would have been stupid. Forgive me. Lucci drops to the ground. Obviously, they were caught off guard, and she's been planning this probably for years and years and years. And it seems like the person Vegapunk called on the phone was Stussy, and he asked for her help, and now she's here, and she's been created by him. So he's the only one she takes orders from, and he had her undercover with CP0 the entire time. So it's expected, right? He's the Albert Einstein of the series. He's gonna be a step ahead of the world government. They think they're planning ahead of him. He's always gonna be a step ahead of you, always. It's like Michael Scofield. If you guys ever watch Prison Break, you can't outsmart him, right? You may think, if you're thinking about what might happen if you two are to part ways, he's been thinking that months before you ever thought about that. So don't worry. That's Vegapunk for you. What? Just a moment. What is this? Why are the CP0 agents at each other's throats? Friendly fire, huh? This is Stussy. I put them both to sleep. That's fantastic news, Stussy. Came through. York, pull it together. Huh? What's going on? Rob Lucci was beaten. No doubt he was taken by surprise. Her loyalty to me was kept secret even after she spent 20 years. 20 years as one of their agents. 20 years. Denjiro. Basically Denjiro. 20 years on the inside for the day you show your true colors. Also basically Kanjuro. But Kanjuro was far more than 20 years actually. He was since he was a kid. You had a mole in the intelligence branch. It wasn't our intention, but that's how it turned out. Doctor, unfortunately, my authority level is the same as Lucci's, so I can't override his orders and stop the Seraphim. So the Seraphim are out of control right now because the Seraphim are still under Rob Lucci's orders, who's knocked unconscious. So technically, no one is in control of the Seraphim right now. And they're just running amok. They're running wild. We got Mihawk, Kuma, Hancock, and Jinbei. S-Shark, S-Hawk, S-Snake, S-Bear. You've done plenty, Stussy. We're on our way. We need to stop those runts before they... So Zoro and Brook are trying to stop the Seraphims. We see Kuma and Jinbei. They look like they recognize them. Brook and Zoro both seem like they recognize. And then Zoro says, I know, especially that one. But they don't show us exactly which one he means. I don't think it's Kuma. I don't think it's Brook. Even though Zoro has a very personal... I don't want to say relationship, a personal moment with Kuma that would leave PTSD in anybody and instantly be triggered by seeing that face again. So he has every reason for it to be Kuma. And then obviously, as Jinbei's a crewmate, he has every reason to think for it to be Jinbei. I'm pretty sure it's Mihawk, and I'm pretty sure we're all thinking the same thing. He's talking about Mihawk here, S-Hawk. I know, especially that one. But they don't show us which one he's talking about. Fui, they stopped blowing holes in the lab, though I suppose I can use those extra exits to get out faster. More of Lilith, and then we see S-Hawk. Seraphim, listen. And Mihawk is about to attack Lilith. He has his sights aimed at her, and here comes Zoro. And I think I took this personally as confirmation that Zoro was talking about S-Hawk. So first I was thinking about, he's probably talking about S-Hawk. But he was running when he said that. And who did he run to? He ran straight towards Mihawk. So he was talking about S-Hawk. On closer inspection, you're not the same. There you go, confirmation. I don't actually forgot about that. You actually have a spark of humanity still. On closer inspection, you are not the same. You actually have a spark of humanity still. So Zoro, I didn't realize this the first time I read it. I kind of like sped through it, I guess. Or OP scans didn't have this translation. So it's almost like Zoro is implying that Mihawk is less human than his Seraphim counterpart. And I was just talking about that. That's crazy. I swear I don't remember reading this the first time. I wonder what OP Scan said here. But I don't think it was this. You actually have a spark of humanity still. What the hell are you? And Zoro agenda comes in strong because Blackbeard was sweating when S-Hawk came up to him and they clashed. It was almost like he couldn't handle S-Hawk. He was like, oh shit, it's a Lunarian. He saw it. He was like, dark skin, wings, white hair, shit. And then S-Hawk comes and clashes with him, and he's the one sweating. Now, Zoro jumps in. He's the one who clashes with S-Hawk, and S-Hawk is the one sweating. This man made a robot sweat. Take that in. This man made a robot sweat. Zoro's top 10. Zoro is top 10 in the verse, and arguably above Blackbeard, since he has a better feat than Blackbeard now. I'm half joking, half not. Zoro's really close to top 10 right now. What the hell are you? That was a shock. Leave it to me. Seraphim, quit it. Stop fighting immediately. No, he can't be. You looking for this? That was so close. Edison, and Sanji gives Edison to Lilith. The Seraphim. Then we have Zoro and then all of the Seraphim. The Seraphim finally listened. Can someone tell me what these things are? Shaka, I've bound Lucci and Kaku with sea stone. Much obliged, Stussy. We're leaving the island. You should come with us. Understood. Hey, you can't keep adding people. They just keep adding more and more people. And Luffy's looking for Bonnie and Vegapunk. We can't leave without them. Okay, this is where shit gets good. A truly unexpected development. Old man, Dr. Vegapunk's main Stella body has vanished. So someone kidnapped Vegapunk is how I interpreted this. That's how I interpreted it. Maybe he's just somewhere else. Maybe he's just lost. But I took it as someone kidnapped Vegapunk. And now you might ask yourself who. Kizaru's not there yet. Or is he? Remember, Kizaru's light. Kizaru's fast. Right? I know we see him later on in this chapter, but we don't know the order of that sequence. But I don't really have any theories on that, on what happened to Vegapunk. But I do think someone took Vegapunk. Who on the island would? I don't know. But remember, they can be double agents on both sides, right? Sphinx, New World, Whitebeard's home territory, or homeland, I should say. Whitebeard's hometown. Marco, it was so scary. Not for me. Not for me. I wasn't scared. There were Marines all over the place. I'm real sorry, kids. I didn't mean to leave you in such a bad spot. This man left kids to fight off Marines. It's not your fault, Marco. Those Marine meanies were the worst. They said they were here for Whitebeard's treasure. They were just like pirates. If you play nice, you won't get hurt, okay? Remember, this place isn't government affiliated. You have no legal rights here. Whitebeard must have kept all his treasure here. If you don't tell us, we'll consider it an act of defiance. So basically, the Marines come in knowing that there's no one strong to guard the territory, and they try and rip them off and take Whitebeard's treasure. But Weevil comes in, saves the day, knocks them out because he genuinely, truly believes, and who knows, we don't even know if he is or not. He genuinely believes he is Whitebeard's son, and these people are messing with Whitebeard's territory, trying to take Whitebeard's treasure, which he believes is his inheritance. And Ms. Buckingham Stussy is obviously putting all this in his head. Stay away from Poppy's home. From Pappy's home. I'm the Pappy. Captain Rattel. Yeah, it's Edward Weevil. Warships were meant to hunt down the warlords. Now they're disbanded. We've lost all contact with the other squad. He got them all. What strength? He's a bona fide monster. He scares them all away. Get back to the ship. We need to wait for backup. This is Sphinx. An ex-warlord just showed up. It's Weevil requesting immediate assistance. So you would think, right? Like they sent Kobe to Hancock. They sent, well, to be fair, they sent a bunch of fodder to Mihawk. But it doesn't, why waste? You can send 2 admirals. You're wasting your time. So why waste resources on Mihawk? There's nothing you can do to capture Mihawk unless you send everyone. And they're not going to send everyone. So even if they sent 2 admirals for Mihawk, which is already out of this world, admirals don't have time to waste like that. Even if they did, they would be extremely regretful after finding out that probably one admiral died or is in critical condition and the other severely wounded, and they managed to capture Mihawk, where both admirals are out of action for months. It's not worth it. So I get that. Hancock, they sent top tiers to her, and Kobe, I guess you could say a top tier. Buggy is fodder, so they sent fodder. But you would think they would send some strong vice admirals at least. They sent even vice admirals to Hancock, but they didn't send anyone for Weevil. Anyways, let's keep reading. That was just something I thought of when I was reading this chapter. That wasn't the end of it, Marco. Who do you think they sent after all that backup? None other than Admiral Ryukugyu, and he wasn't pulling any punches. See, this is why I'm happy I'm rereading the chapter. I honestly forgot. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I honestly forgot that Green Bull captured Weevil. I swear to God I forgot. Man, because I read this quick and had to get right back to work. And haven't read it since. I just got home today. None other than Admiral Ryukugyu. So, Oda's playing. Well, this guy has been on ups, downs, and he's just been introduced in chapter 1053 or something was his introduction. And so far, he's been up with King and Queen. He's been down with Yamato, Momonosuke, all that. He's been down harder with Shanks. And now he's up again with Weevil. Because if he can capture Weevil after what happened in Wano, just go and capture Weevil like that, he's at least an admiral. He's at least admiral level. None other than Admiral Ryukugyu, and he wasn't pulling any punches. They've taken my sweet Weevil away. Get me back, my beloved son. And while you're at it, fork over Newgate's inheritance too. So this was interesting because if my memory serves me correctly, it's been a long time, but if you guys recall, on Weevil's initial introduction, we see Miss Buckingham Stussy telling him and reaffirming to him, because he seems to just be extremely impressionable and dumb. So she whatever motives he has comes from her, and she's telling him, "You're the son of Whitebeard. You're due his inheritance, and you need to kill Marco." Remember that was their thing. Was like kill Marco because Marco is like, falsely taking the role of Whitebeard's predecessor, his direct predecessor, I guess you could say, or successor, I guess, whatever the right word is, successor, where he's not claiming to be his son, at least not his literal son, but he's claiming to be the guy to handle the Whitebeard pirates, to handle Whitebeard's inheritance, to take on responsibility for protecting Whitebeard's hometown. And she's like, no, this is Whitebeard's real son. He should have all that. So their goal is to kill Marco. So it's interesting now because Weevil's not with her, of course. She's vulnerable. She wants to work with Marco and actually is asking him for help. And immediately within one chapter, we get confirmation that this is indeed, as everyone suspected, former member of the Rocks Pirates, self-proclaimed scientist, Mad's resident, freeloader, it's a lot of titles, Miss Buckin. Quote, Buckingham Stussy, end quote. And not only this, but this pretty much confirms 99.99999% that the woman that was in that background with young Vegapunk was probably Stussy. Not Stussy, sorry. Miss Buckingham Stussy. Some people may still think it's the clone Stussy, but that cover story was before the one with the where we couldn't really see what was going on, that we assumed is them creating that clone. So I take it as it's obviously Miss Buckingham Stussy, the real one. I don't know what the hell is going on the floor above me, but I really hope you guys can't hear that. It's super annoying right now, but hopefully you guys can't hear that. If you can, I apologize. Bear with me. We're almost done anyways. But so I'm assuming it was the team was Vegapunk as the leader, and then you had the real Miss Buckingham Stussy, post Rock Pirates days. Caesar, Judge, and Queen, all in one team. So it was probably her, the real Stussy. That was a long time ago too. So she's old now. Vegapunk is old. And we see Green Bull sailing off with Weevil, and she's crying. Sent to prison for protecting his father's village. Isn't this tragic? Don't you think our boy has a noble soul? Well, I appreciate you guys protecting this place at least. Marco, I can hear it in your tone. You still doubt he's Whitebeard's son. Well, I know someone who can prove it. Dr. Vegapunk. I forgot about that too. This chapter had so much interesting things. So the real Stussy was actually a member of the Mad Scientist group. As it says, Mad's resident freeloader. Or she was a freeloader, I guess. And she knew Vegapunk. But post-Rock Pirates days. Post-Rocks Pirates. And Vegapunk can prove that Weevil is Whitebeard's son. So I'm assuming Weevil was conceived or created, and I want to say created now, after the fall of Rocks Pirates and after she was with Vegapunk. Which means he's most likely a clone. Because Weevil looks old too, right? Let me see. Edward Weevil age. One Piece Wiki. Age 35 years old. 35 years old, Rocks Pirates was 38 years ago. So 3 years after Rocks fell, Weevil was either born or cloned. And something tells me, remember in Oden's flashback, Whitebeard, what he said about, I've seen what happened when I've seen what happens when a lot of guys with big egos join a crew and it doesn't end well. That just gave me the idea, and obviously with Whitebeard being so different than Shiki, Big Mom, Kaido, and everyone else we know in the Rocks Pirates, in the Rocks crew, that once the Rocks crew fell, Whitebeard was like, he didn't want anything to do with that name, with that brand, or with anybody associated to it whatsoever. The moment they fell, he wanted nothing to do with it. That's just what I think. So I don't see him 3 whole years after Rocks Pirates fall getting together with Miss Buckingham Stussy and conceiving a child. So to me, she had his DNA from prior, the early days, held onto it. met Vegapunk 3 years after Rock's Pirates fell. And once she met Vegapunk 3 years after the fall of the Rock's Pirates, they were able to clone. She gave him Whitebeard's DNA and he cloned Weevil. I do think, you know what? I think Weevil is a clone. He's by far the most justifiable for this theory. He's got to be a clone because he's around someone who's already been cloned. There's already ties to Vegapunk there. He looks hella weird with his body structure. And let me see if there's any hints with how Edward Weevil actually looks. So we see he looks like Frankenstein. Like, there's people have scars. We know even Crocodile has like a massive scar across his face. But Weevil looks stitched together. No. Weevil's a clone. Weevil's a clone. He has a stitch going all the way across his arm, meaning his arm was stitched together. He has a stitch going all the way across his face, and then most of all, the most important one, is the stitch all the way across his head. Unless you're telling me that someone slit his throat, literally, not even ear to ear. Ear to ear is like what people say usually to exaggerate. This is back of the neck to back of the neck. Literally, someone wants to slit his throat all the way around, and he survived. Unless you're telling me that happened, Weevil is 95% a clone right now. And his head was placed on and then stitched. And if you look at his eyes don't look human too. I mean, look at Frankenstein. The whole deal with Frankenstein. I never even watched Frankenstein or read anything of Frankenstein. But even I can tell you he has a stitched face. That's like one of the main things about Frankenstein, isn't it? Or maybe not. Maybe I was wrong. No, here, yeah. Like he's all stitched up and stuff. Weevil is like that too. He's got a bandage around his nose. I don't know why he has that. His Jolly Roger has the stitches as well. So Weevil is a clone. So Rock's Pirates days, Ms. Buckingham Stussy probably got with Whitebeard or whatever. She got his DNA. Upon getting his DNA, Rock's Pirates fall 38 years ago. 3 years after that, well, she gets with Vegapunk. She gets with the mad scientist group. And 3 years after that, Vegapunk helps her create Weevil. And not only this, how else would she be so confident to say, well, I know someone who can prove Weevil is Whitebeard's son, Vegapunk? Because unless he watched them do it, how would he be that confident to say it about a biological kid? Or unless he did DNA samples, which, why? What would be the point of that, right? So I think she means he helped create him out of Whitebeard's DNA. And everyone's probably going to be like, what? And then how's that his son? And to her, that's just going to be like, yeah, that means it's his son. Duh. Probably going to be like one of those things. At least that's what I think. So as of right now, I'm 100 billion, 1,000 trillion% convinced Weevil is a clone of Whitebeard. And the only other character, like I said earlier, that I would open that door up for is Mihawk. And I wouldn't think it's a clone of Ryuma or anything like that. I just think the only reason I would say he's a clone is because he's so hollow inside. And even Zoro said now that Seraphim has more human-like tendencies than Mihawk. And that Seraphim sweat. But I guess Mihawk sweat too with Vista. And here we go. The last part and the biggest part of the chapter. Kizaru-san, we've prepared snacks and tea for our guests. Singular. I'm sure you remember to test for poison, right? Of course, sir. I'll take it to him back to your post. Yes, sir. So Kizaru gets this snacks and tea, makes sure they all tested it, and he delivers it to the special guest. And we see him here. So have you ever met Dr. Vegapunk before? He's asking the Gorosei member. Once, a long time ago. I think what's happening now is truly such a shame. One of the big wigs finally makes a move. What do they mean by wigs? This is a very different translation from the one I read earlier. Everything about this is entirely different. The highest authority in the world, one of the 5 elders, Saint J. Garcia Saturn. I'm not the kind of person that'll do research on names and mythology. I don't know much about mythology, history, stuff like that, names. A lot of people will make connections here, and it'll be interesting to see what they are. I don't personally have any theories here with this, but I will say this. Oda is very intentional with names. Very intentional. Very, very, very Kaido, Marshall D. Teach, Edward Newgate. Very intentional with names, with everyone. And this is a 1 out of 5 of probably the most important characters in One Piece. One of the highest level. B, they were introduced so early on and have been kept nameless. Probably, I think it's very safe to say, the longest nameless characters. The longest Oda has held a character's name from us in the story are the 5 elders. Easily. I can't think of anyone else who he's held the name of for this long. And it's intentional because he's been thinking, what do I want to call them and why do I want to call them that? So I will say this. That name, St. J. Garcia Saturn, definitely has every single thing about that name is for a reason. Obviously, we know each of their looks are influenced by someone as well. Like, we know the guy with Gandhi. This guy I don't know much about, but I'm sure I can look it up right now in 5 seconds to find out. He is influenced by someone, both in look, and I guarantee you by name as well. What I will say is this. Saturn stands out because that makes me think the other Gorosei members are going to have names with planets as well. And I'm sure a lot of people were thinking the same thing upon first reading this. I'm sure. It's not anything crazy or anything. It's like you see Saturn with this guy, you know there's 4 more. Okay. Are we going to have a Mars, a Venus, a Mercury? Is that going to have something to do with their powers? Why are they named that? Why are each of them named after a planet? What are the planets? Why is it only 5 instead of 8 or 9? Right? This is going to be very interesting. Let's see here, chapter notes. In addition to referencing the planet/god, Saturn's name might refer to 2 unrelated musicians. Jerry J. Garcia, his name is very similar and he bears a visual resemblance to the character. He does kind of look like him, yeah. There's also Russell Garcia, who wrote a song called The Lost Souls of Saturn. Rattle is named after the honey badger. There's so many different ways you can go with this. And the coloring is amazing as always. By Grish. Oh, this is beautiful. This really stands out. Maybe it's because there's just so much color. In like the sky, the ocean, Kizaru's face, the detail. 1 second, guys. Yeah, this color is beautiful. The highest authority in the world. So he met Vegapunk one time, a very long time ago. I think what's happening now is truly a shame. So why are we getting this information now of all times? That's what I'm asking myself is why are we getting this information now? Why didn't we get this information before? Or why didn't we get this information after? What is the timing importance of it coming in now? And when are we going to get the other Gorosei members? And what ties are we going to find out? And when are we going to find out about it? With Vegapunk and this J. Garcia Saturn guy. I'm not going to theorize too much about it right now because I don't want to theorize. I don't want to force any theories out. But what I will say is this. If we get this guy now, we're going to get the other 4 very, very soon. Very soon. I'm talking probably next arc. Maybe next 30, 40 chapters. So we're probably going to get all 4 of the other Gorosei members' names because now that one is in play, I think they all have to be in play. And I think this is going to be an individual story arc for this guy specifically because he met Vegapunk by himself probably once a very long time ago. And again, they want to kill Vegapunk right now too. So maybe Vegapunk knows or has found out over time more about the Gorosei and how they tend to be unable to get any older. As we see them in Robin's flashback. They look the exact same as they look now. So all these secrets, maybe Vegapunk is starting to find out more about them. And with Kizaru going to see Vegapunk, he's already on the ship on his way to Vegapunk. Or to Egghead, I should say. And now this Gorosei member seems like he's on the ship with him. That's crazy. That means this guy is on his way to see Vegapunk as well. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be so interesting. And then there's this stuff with Kuma and The next time we see Bonnie, who is a key figure in this arc, she's gonna know everything. Keep that in mind. The next time we see Bonnie, she will know all of the answers that she was looking for from the beginning of this arc about Kuma, why he did what he did, everything. Because Kuma kept all of that in one memory, and the last we saw her, she was already touching it. And Vegapunk was right there with her. So, with Vegapunk being kidnapped, could it be that Bonnie saw the memories? Could it be that Bonnie saw the memories of Kuma, came to the realization of everything going on? I am dying to find out more than anything else of everything that's going on. I want to know about Kuma and that stuff. And she realized that Vegapunk is good and can help her or whatever. And she took Vegapunk to remove him from harm's way because she knows, I don't know, because she knows more than us now. So I can't connect the dots like she would be able to because she knows everything now. But maybe she's like, shit, I gotta get this guy out of here before he gets hurt. He was really telling the truth. He was really looking out for my father. And he really has my father and myself's best interest at heart. And I know Kizaru's coming. Well, I don't know if she knows. But still, like, all the CP0 guys. And she's like, let me get this guy out of here safely. Or maybe, not just that, but maybe there's something she feels she needs to do now, right? What I'm thinking of, this is where my brain is going, is think of, if you guys watched Naruto Shippuden, think of when Sasuke found out the truth about Itachi. It didn't make him hate Itachi, but it also didn't make him want to do exactly what Itachi wanted to do. Because there's a reason Itachi wanted Sasuke to not see the truth at all costs. There's a reason Kuma doesn't want Bonnie to see the truth at all costs. Because if they see the truth, what does Sasuke end up doing? Sasuke literally ended up doing the worst case scenario of what Itachi hoped. He ended up wanting to take down the Leaf Village. And it makes perfect sense in Sasuke's mind. And if you're Sasuke, you're gonna want to do the same thing. But if you're Itachi, it's gonna break your heart the exact same way it broke his heart. It all made sense, right? And that's why he didn't want him to see it, because he wasn't gonna be against Itachi anymore. But that doesn't mean he's gonna want to be siding. He's not gonna be going about the issue the same way his older brother was. So because of that, I'm thinking the exact same thing's happening here now, where just because she found out the truth about Kuma and whatever his intent is and what's going on and why he made that sacrifice, doesn't mean she's going to go about fixing this issue the same way Kuma is. Because if Kuma thought she was going to do that, he wouldn't be so afraid, and he wouldn't make a Vegapunk promise above all else to not let Bonnie know the truth at all costs, no matter what. So I think Bonnie is on her own Akatsuki Sasuke type shit right now, where she's on a solo mission. And she probably did kidnap Vegapunk. You know what she probably did? She probably saw the memories, saw the truth, like Sasuke learned the truth, got so pissed off at whoever did this to Kuma and was the reason. In the same way, Sasuke got pissed off at the Leaf Village because, yes, they were the reason Itachi did all that. If you guys haven't watched Naruto, apologize. I know you guys aren't understanding any of this, but it try and make sense with what I'm saying. If person A doesn't want their beloved, or like their child, their younger brother, their daughter, whatever, to see the truth, it could be because someone that isn't necessarily evil did them wrong for a greater good, and they themselves understood that was for a greater good, but they're worried that their loved ones aren't going to see it the same way. They're just going to see it as, you did this to my older brother, you did this to my father, I'm coming after you now. And then what that does, it erases the greater good. And then not only that, but it takes away the entire sacrifice that person made. Like Sasuke trying to destroy the Leaf Village, literally, if he did do that, took away every single sacrifice Itachi made his entire life. And you would still understand why Sasuke did it, which is why it's such great storytelling and such a tragic story. But obviously, the Sasuke's arc ended in a good way. It didn't end like that. And Naruto was able to bring him back to his senses. But it's great storytelling because it's tragic storytelling. Because it shows that the world isn't all black and white. There's a gray, and everyone has their own Sasuke's justice was different than Itachi's justice. Sasuke's justice was more personal to him and Itachi and the Uchiha clan. Itachi's was for the world, was for the, or should I say, the Leaf Village. And he saw the Leaf Village. He wanted justice for the Leaf Village. So I'm thinking the same thing here, where Kuma was making that sacrifice for himself, for a greater good, that he knows and is confident Bonnie is not going to see. And she's going to be too blinded with anger at Vegapunk and whoever else caused this. And she's going to actively go about this in a way that's going to basically make everything Kuma did in vain. And I think she's probably doing this right now. She's going about this the wrong way. She saw that. She probably saw the memories, got extremely pissed off, and kidnapped Dr. Vegapunk. And who knows? Maybe she's going to like kill Dragon. Who knows? Maybe she's going after the revolutionary. Maybe she's going after the world government. However, I think with the world government, she's already a pirate. We already know the world government is evil. It doesn't really take the plot to a drastic switch. It's not that big of a drastic switch. And I think Oda wants that drastic switch right now. So in the same way Sasuke wanted to take down the entire Leaf Village and just end it, I think now Bonnie probably wants to take down like the Revolutionary Army or something where it's like, no, you don't do that, Bonnie. That's not what you want to do. It's going to be something along those lines where she's just going to be wreaking havoc and everyone's going to be like, well, shit, she's only making things worse. And Kuma's like, well, that's why I didn't want her to know. So I do think Bonnie kidnapped Vegapunk. I think that's safe to say. I think that's definitely safe to say. And I think if she's not going after the Revolutionary Army, she's going after someone that's unexpected and someone that we wouldn't want her going after. Someone that we deem good. Someone that we want to see win in the story. And she wants them dead right now. Because they have something to do with Kuma. Maybe, no, this sounds too crazy. I was going to say maybe Kuma was a part of Sword and she's going after like Kobe and Garp and all of them right now. Maybe Kuma could have had ties with Sword. But if he has ties with the Revolutionary Army, I don't see how he would have ties with Sword as well. Unless those two are meshed together somehow with Garp and Dragon. Who knows? Maybe Garp and Dragon have been working together this entire time. And that's why that's why Garp is still cool and okay being in the Marines. Even though we all know he hates the Celestial Dragons. And we keep saying, why doesn't he try and change anything? Why is he the only guy that has gun rolls and doesn't try and change anything? Fujitora tries to change it. Smoker tries to change it. Dragon tries to change it. Why is Garp the only guy that doesn't try and change it from the Marines? Even Kobe tried to change it. Maybe Garp is as much of a leader of the Revolutionary Army as Dragon, but he's the inside man of the Revolutionary Army, and Dragon is the outside man. In the same way like that theory video I made about the Marines and how I think Akainu and Aokiji are actually working together on different sides, right? A tale of two sides. And Akainu is leading the Marines from the inside, Aokiji is leading the Marines from the outside and infiltrating. That could be the case with Garp and Dragon and the Revolutionary Armies. What if, I say it today, who knows, maybe this can come true. What if Garp created the Revolutionary Army and Dragon is his inside man who created it? From the outside has all the fame and all that, and Garp stays in his post and has been dying for change in the Marines for so long, but he knows change has to come from within. Not just within, but with both sides. Some from the outside, some within. But he knows that without having it from within, you can never make change. And that's why he stays in. Because that's the only way it makes sense for me that through all of this, through killing Ace simply, it'd be one thing if they killed Ace for, I don't know, being a pirate, whatever, stealing, whatever. Because really, pirates don't really do anything. Like, what could you really charge Ace for as a pirate? What at the worst he's probably done morally is probably steal food from someone because he was hungry. Maybe kill enemy ships, sure, but did not try. He wasn't on trial for being a pirate. He was on trial for being Roger's son, and he was killed for that, executed in front of Garp. So with Garp knowing this and them wanting to kill Ace when he was a baby and all this, and with the Celestial Dragons and everything, there's no way Luffy's grandfather, Luffy's relative, a character that we know is so kind-hearted that he would let Luffy hit him right then and there so that he can go save Ace. There's no way he would just sit back with no actual intention of changing this. There's no way. So to me, maybe Garp and maybe Sword and the Revolutionary are one and the same. Maybe Sword and the Revolutionary Army are one in the same. It's just a part of the Revolutionary Army that is within the Marines on the inside, because there's so much double agents, triple agents, this that going on in One Piece right now that we're seeing, that like we saw with Virgo, Rosinante, Corazon. You know what? Something else that I realized that's very, very interesting. Hold on, I got a runny nose, guys. Sorry. Oda really likes to do this. One thing Oda really, really likes to do that I've noticed is, if he gives you a double agent, he always gives it on the other side in the same arc. So think of this: Dressrosa, Rosinante was a Doflamingo pirate, one of the highest ranking members in the Doflamingo family. He was the active Corazon, and he was a Marine. But in the exact same arc, another character, Virgo, as we all know, was a Marine, a very high ranking Marine, a Vice Admiral, and he was truly a Doflamingo pirate member and a Corazon. Not only that, now obviously more recently in Wano, what did we have? We have Kanjuro and we have Denjiro. Exact same thing that I just mentioned with Corazon and Virgo, but in Wano themes now. Where you had Kanjuro was with Oden, but was really with Orochi. Denjiro was with Orochi, but was really with Oden. That's twice Oda has done this. And if you guys saw that theory video I made of Akainu and Aokiji and how I think they're actually together, but like I just said, you really can't change anything unless you do it from the inside. So Aokiji stays in. So Aokiji goes to infiltrate, to be in the inside of the pirates, inside of the Blackbeard pirates, and Akainu is on the outside. And Aokiji actually beat Akainu and made this proposal. And they're both leaders, and they're getting the same job done, one from the inside. Because you're most effective when you have someone on the inside and someone on the outside. That's when you're the most effective. So if this is happening, the counterpart to the Marines doing this with Akainu and Aokiji would be Garp and Dragon doing this with Sword and with the Marines. With Sword and with the Revolutionary Army, and with Garp being the leader of Sword and Dragon being the leader of the Revolutionary Army. I should have made a video on that. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll make a full video on that, because now, the more I think about it, that makes a lot of sense. That makes so much sense, because why else would Garp be sitting down his whole life not wanting to make any change? I don't personally think Garp is that kind of guy. I think Garp is going to want to make a change. And what better change than this? Even if it takes so long, even if he has to invest his whole life into it. And if Dragon is Garp's son, and Garp is Luffy's paternal grandfather and not maternal, like a lot of people think, I used to think he's probably I keep switching back and forth, because we've never been told Dragon is his son. You know what? I think Garp is Luffy's maternal grandmother. I don't think Garp is Dragon's father. I really don't. Perhaps Rox is. Who knows? But regardless, Garp would have that connection. Whether Dragon is his son-in-law or his son, he would have that connection with him. And I think with that connection, he was so fed up with what was going on. And Dragon was too, who might have been like an admiral at the time. And Dragon left and started the Revolutionary Army, but Garp stayed inside to keep tabs on the inside on what's going on and created Sword. That's what I think happened. My brain is just running right now, running around with theories. But I think that makes a lot of sense. Anyways, guys, this video has been an hour and 20 minutes long. I don't want to keep you guys anymore. I appreciate you guys watching. Again, like I said in the beginning, give me a month at the most to get my shit together right now with this new job, just to get organized. And I will have videos out for you guys as always, every Tuesday, every Saturday, as always, back to normal. And with this new camera and this new microphone, the good thing is I can, when I am able to do live reactions, I can probably stream live reactions now. So I'll stream live my live reactions on this YouTube channel, hopefully from now on. That is when I can do live reactions, which hopefully will be every single week from now on. Just let me get done this training portion right now of my job, and I'll be good once I'm done that. Even if I have to live react to it in the truck, that's exactly what I'll do. If you guys are OGs in this channel, you've seen that I've done that before. I still have it up right now. The chapter where Imu destroyed Sabo. I was reacting to that in the truck. So give me some time to figure that out. Right now, I'm going to try to record as many videos as I can right now at home before I have to get out again by tomorrow or the day after, and edit those and get those videos out for you guys. So I'm going to try and get those videos out for you guys as soon as I can. So you guys should get some videos this week. Again, thank you guys so much for the 1,000 subscribers. Beyond grateful. I don't know. I would say more. I just don't know what else to say. I'm out of words for it. Thank you guys so much. So instead of putting more words into it, I want to thank you guys with banger videos. So I'm going to make some banger videos for you guys. I have a fantastic rocks theory that I have been working on for, I want to say, a month and a half now, but I had to put it on hold because my life got so busy. But I still have the script for that theory. I'm going to finish that up, and it's going to be a fantastic rocks theory that might have a part 2, and the part 2 might even be better with another character. So stick around for that. That should be coming out soon. That's probably going to be one of the next videos I record. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys sticking through with me for an hour and 20 minutes, going over these last 2 banger chapters. There's a One Piece break There's a One Piece break this week because it's been a week now, but next week we should be back to it. So thank you guys again. I'll see you guys later on. Nature Boy out.